Hello friends, you are on the channel Quotes of Great Men. Enjoy watching. All saints can do miracles, but few of them can keep a hotel. Compliments make me vain, and when I am vain, I am insolent and overbearing. It is a pity, too, because I love compliments. I love them even when they are not so. My child, I can live on a good compliment 2 weeks with nothing else to eat. No temperance society which is well officered and which has the real good of our fellow men in view will ever get drunk save in the seclusion of its temperance hall. Simple rules for saving money: to save half when you are fired by an eager impulse to contribute to a charity, wait and count to 40. To save 3/4, count 60. To save all, count 65. If you don't know how to pronounce a word, say it loudly. Do not compound mispronunciation with inaudibility. The humorist writer professes to awaken and direct your love, your pity, your kindness, your scorn for untruth, pretension, imposture. He takes upon himself to be the weekday preacher. You perceive I generalize with intrepidity from single instances. It is the tourist's custom. There are women who have an indefinable charm in their faces which makes them beautiful to their intimates, but a cold stranger who tried to reason the matter out and find this beauty would fail. When one's character begins to fall under suspicion and disfavor, how swift, then, is the work of disintegration and destruction. Each season brings a world of enjoyment and interest in the watching of its unfolding, its gradual harmonious development, its culminating graces, and just as one begins to tire of it, it passes away and a radical change comes, with new witcheries and new glories in its train. Gratitude is a debt which usually goes on accumulating like blackmail. The more you pay, the more is exacted. Apparently, one of the most uncertain things in the world is the funeral of a religion. A good legible label is usually worth, for information, a ton of significant attitude and expression in a historical picture. I speak French with timidity, and not flowingly except when excited. When using that language, I have often noticed that I have hardly ever been mistaken for a Frenchman, except, perhaps, by horses, never, I believe, by people. Canadian girls are so pretty it's a relief now and then to see a plain one. Change is the handmaid nature requires to do her miracles with. Often a quite assified remark becomes sanctified by use and petrified by custom. It is then a permanency, its term of activity a geologic period. Everyone knew he could foretell wars and famines, though that was not so hard, for there was always a war, and generally a famine somewhere. Imagination labors best in distant fields. A banquet is probably the most fatiguing thing in the world except ditch digging. Most of the things I worried about in life never happened. There are no people who are quite so vulgar as the over-refined. Soap and education are not as sudden as a massacre, but they are more deadly in the long run. Training is everything. The peach was once a bitter almond. Cauliflower is nothing but cabbage with a college education. Those people, early stricken of God, intellectually the departmental interpreters of the laws in Washington, can always be depended on to take any reasonably good law and interpret the common sense all out of it. The thing for us to do is just to do our duty and not worry about whether anybody sees us do it or not. You don't know about me without you have read a book by the name of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, but that ain't no matter. That book was made by a Mr. Mark Twain, and he told the truth, mainly. The fact is, the king was a good deal more than a king. He was a man, and when a man is a man, you can't knock it out of him. It is easier to manufacture 7 facts out of whole cloth than 1 emotion. Do you reckon Tom Sawyer was satisfied after all them adventures? Manifestly, dying is nothing to a really great and brave man. Now I can only pray that there may be a God in heaven or something better. You should never trust a man who has only one way to spell a word. Perhaps no poet is a conscious plagiarist, but there seems to be warrant for suspecting that there is no poet who is not at one time or another an unconscious one. When politics enter into municipal government, nothing resulting therefrom in the way of crimes and infamies is then incredible. It actually enables one to accept and believe the impossible. The true pioneer of civilization is not the newspaper, not religion, not the railroad, but whiskey. Don't just sit there and worry. Be proactive. Do something, anything about what's worrying you so you can gain information, focus, and control over the situation. I've suffered a great many catastrophes in my life. Most of them never happened. Everything human is pathetic. The secret source of humor itself is not joy but sorrow. There is no humor in heaven. Thank you for watching to the end. I'm pleased. See you in new videos.